I always wanted to be the last speaker before people who are fasting all day get to eat. Thank you. In my tradition, one of our leaders was given a bit of pushback once because he was running a food pantry or something, and he wasn't just taking care of Catholics. So some of his people came up and said, "Why are you taking care of people who aren't Catholic?" And he said, "We don't take care of them because they're Catholic. We take care of them because we are Catholic." For you see, what we know within my tradition, within each of our traditions, is that our care for one another is based on two things I'd like to mention tonight. Within my tradition, we believe that God has created us, and that because God has created us, there is a commonality to us. And there is a dignity given to each person. And so our care for one another, our desire to help one another, is based on that dignity that God has given to us, simply because we are made in God's image and likeness. Several years ago, when our rapidly declining refugee resettlement program was becoming tighter and tighter, they were looking for ways to say, okay, how is it that we can choose who comes in? So there was a thought, well, what we'll do is we'll recognize those who are religiously persecuted, meaning Christian. And so a group of us went and talked to our elected officials and said, that's a wonderful idea, we fully support it, as do our Muslim brothers and sisters who are so persecuted. And all of a sudden, it didn't become important to them anymore. But my friends, what God calls us to in recognizing that dignity that is infused within us is that we recognize that commonality. Within our tradition, we call it the common good, which I tell my students is what's best for the most. What is it that God is calling us to recognize within one another? I'll end by using a story that my cardinal often uses. He said there's a great Italian novel that was written between World War I and World War II as fascism was raising up in Italy. And a young woman goes to her parish priest, and says, "What are we going to do? How can we overcome this?" And the priest says, "I don't know what we're going to do, but let me tell you what keeps tyrants up at night. It makes dictators sick. It's the old woman who gets up in the middle of the night, goes to the town square, and scrawls no against the wall." He said it's those people who take those actions that can bring down powers of injustice. And so as we gather tonight, we ask ourselves, how is it that we are called to be the no that God is writing tonight? How is it that we are called to be the no that is written against war, the no that is written against injustice, the no that is written against intolerance? As people of faith representing various faith communities, may we be the no that God is writing tonight.